Hi, and welcome to the My SG Prop podcast, where we explore smart property investing and uncover insights from Singapore to the region. I'm Rainey, and wow, CS, what a topic we have today.
Indeed, Rainey. I'm CS, and in today's episode, we're diving deep into a question that often pops up, especially from landlords. Shall a landlord pay lease renewal fees? This isn't just a simple yes or no. It's actually an educational deep dive, packed with detailed explanations, tips, real-world examples, and even a case study or two. It's a response, actually, to a reader's suggestion to the Council for Estate Agencies, or CEA, about reviewing the terms of agent contracts for residential rental properties.
Oh, a reader brought it up? That's interesting. I can already imagine some landlords out there, especially those who've been managing properties for a while, probably thinking, why should I pay another fee when my tenant's just staying put, right? It feels a bit like paying for something that's already happening.
That's exactly it, Rainey, and it's a very common sentiment. Many landlords see it as a straightforward extension, perhaps even thinking, my agent found the tenant likes the place, I like the tenant. What more is there to do? But the reality, from an agent's perspective and from a holistic property management viewpoint, is far more nuanced.
Nuanced, you say. Okay, CS, you've piqued my curiosity. So what are these hidden layers of nuance? Walk us through why agents believe landlords should continue to pay renewal commissions.
Well, let's start with the groundwork. The initial contract signed between the landlord and tenant, typically by the agent, usually has a clause stating that a renewal commission is payable if the tenant extends their lease. This isn't a new development. It's often part of the standard terms.
So it's already in the fine print. But I guess many landlords might gloss over that or perhaps forget about it when renewal time comes around. They might feel like, okay, the initial work is done. The deal is sealed.
Precisely. But here's the first major point. 2 months before the contract expires, a diligent agent isn't just sitting idle. They're actively following up with both the landlord and the tenant to ascertain if both parties are keen to renew. This alone can involve quite a bit of coordination, especially if the landlord is overseas or the tenant has specific requests.
Right, because things can change, right? The tenant might be considering moving or the landlord might have other plans for the property. So the agent acts as that crucial communication bridge.
Absolutely. And once both parties express interest in renewing, the agent's work intensifies. They need to assess the current market rental trends. Is the market up or down? What's a fair and competitive rental rate for the renewed lease? They then provide this professional advice to the landlord. If there's a discrepancy or disagreement on the proposed rent between the landlord and tenant, guess who steps in to mediate? The agent.
That's a huge one, I think. Negotiating rent can be awkward, especially if the landlord and tenant have a direct relationship. Having a neutral third party, someone who knows the market, to bridge that gap, that's invaluable, actually. It saves a lot of potential friction.
It truly does. And beyond just rent negotiation, I always advise landlords to inspect the property before a renewal. Many landlords, especially those with multiple properties or who are busy, will delegate this entirely to their agent. The agent will then visit the tenant, assess the property's condition, check if it's been well maintained, and report back to the landlord with recommendations on whether to renew with the current tenant.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Because sometimes tenants might neglect minor things, or wear and tear might be more significant than expected. So the agent isn't just looking at documents, they're physically checking on the asset.
Exactly. And this leads to another critical aspect. The renewal terms aren't always set in stone. While preparing the new documents for signing, the agent might notice issues during their inspection. For example, say they find mold on the walls or bathroom ceiling, perhaps due to the tenant's negligence, prolonged air conditioning use, or poor ventilation. The agent will then not only remind the tenant, but can also incorporate specific clauses into the new contract to address these issues, making sure they don't recur.
Wow, so it's not just a copy-paste job of the old contract. It's tailored to the current situation, with the agent providing that extra layer of protection and guidance for the landlord. That's a real value add right there.
It is, Rainey, and it underlines that renewal isn't merely administrative, it's part of the agent's continued property management service. They're ensuring the landlord's asset is protected and that the tenant adheres to specific upkeep requirements.
You know, it reminds me of a story I heard, or actually something I personally encountered a few years back. There was this landlord who, about 2 months before the lease was up, decided to fly back from overseas specifically to meet the tenant directly. Their goal was to cut out the agent and save on the renewal fee. So they told the tenant, hey, no need for the agent, just continue staying at the same rent, no new contract needed, save on stamp duty too. I only found out when I contacted the tenant.
Rainey, that's a classic example, and unfortunately, a costly mistake. That landlord, in an attempt to save a small commission, actually engaged in illegal subletting and evaded stamp duty. Not only that, but the tenant, in such a scenario, would also lack legal protection. And in your example, what happened with the rent?
Well, at that time, market rents had actually gone up by about 800 Singapore dollars a month. The tenant naturally was delighted because they were getting a fantastic deal, especially since the landlord had already left Singapore. But when you do the math, over 2 years, that landlord effectively lost close to 20,000 Singapore dollars in potential rental income, all just to save a few $100s in agent fees. Talk about penny wise, pound foolish.
That's exactly the kind of case study we need to highlight, Rainey. It perfectly illustrates that trying to circumvent the agent can lead to significant financial losses and legal pitfalls for the landlord. The agent's market knowledge and negotiation skills alone can easily cover their commission multiple times over.
Definitely. And it's not just about the big bucks either, is it? It's about all those little emergencies that crop up. I mean, imagine a toilet that won't flush, a blocked drain, a leaking water heater, or an air conditioner breakdown. Who do you think the tenant calls first?
You got it, Rainey. They still call the landlord's agent. Even during a renewed lease, agents often act as the primary point of contact for emergency repairs. They have their network of trusted contractors who can swiftly resolve these issues, saving the landlord the headache of finding someone reliable at short notice.
Oh, that's such a relief for landlords, honestly, especially those who travel a lot or aren't handy. And what about rent collection? That can sometimes be a bit tricky, can't it?
Absolutely. In many cases, tenants will send a screenshot of their monthly bank transfer proof to the agent first, who then informs the landlord. And if a tenant is late with rent, or worse, fails to pay, the landlord typically informs the agent to investigate the situation and chase for payment. This takes a significant burden off the landlord's shoulders.
So the agent is almost like a mini property manager, even during renewals, handling all those day-to-day administrative and maintenance issues.
Precisely. And there's more to it than just physical issues or payments. During renewal, agents also have a crucial compliance role. They need to recheck each tenant's identification documents and passports, cross-referencing with the Ministry of Manpower and Immigration and Checkpoints Authority websites to ensure all documents are still valid. They also assist the tenant in applying for stamp duty for the new contract, ensuring everything is above board.
That's a big one that many might overlook. Compliance is key, especially with foreign tenants. You don't want any nasty surprises with immigration or legal issues down the road.
Exactly. And another common scenario during renewals is when tenants request upgrades or replacements for older items in the house. Maybe an old sofa, a faulty appliance, an aging air conditioner, or even a fresh coat of paint. Because agents often have a long-standing, trusting relationship with the landlords they serve, landlords will typically rely on their agent to handle these requests, negotiate with the tenant, and coordinate any necessary work.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, if you have a good agent, why would you switch? They know your property, they know your tenants, and they've built that rapport. It's like having a trusted advisor on speed dial. So for a landlord, paying that half-month or one-month commission during renewal really boils down to saving time, effort, worry, and stress.
That's the crux of it, Rainey. The agent essentially handles all the detailed communications, negotiations, contract preparations, and everything in between. It's true that many property renovations and minor issues aren't explicitly stated as the agent's responsibility in the contract. However, a diligent and dedicated agent will almost always go the extra mile to provide these additional services. It's a service industry, after all. Agents aim to earn their commission while ensuring their landlords have complete peace of mind.
You know, when you compare it to buying or selling a property, I often hear agents say that renting actually involves double the hard work and effort. All those viewings, the constant back and forth, the troubleshooting, and sometimes, even with all that effort, a small oversight can lead to misunderstandings. It's a thankless job sometimes, isn't it?
It can be, Rainey. The hard work and emotional labor behind the scenes often go unnoticed. Of course, we can't deny that every industry has its bad apples. However, while the CEA does an excellent job of safeguarding consumer interests, it also has a responsibility to ensure that renewal commissions protect the interests of both real estate agencies and the agents under them.
That's a fair point. It's about striking a balance.
Indeed. It also ensures that the commission structure is fair and transparent, and directly linked to the actual benefits provided when the renewal documents are signed. Therefore, including the renewal commission clause ultimately contributes to the industry's credibility and aligns with the common interests of landlords, agents, and their respective companies. It's about recognizing the continuous value an agent brings to the table, not just at the start, but throughout the entire tenancy lifecycle.
Wow, CS, that was incredibly insightful. I think you've really shed light on why that renewal fee isn't just a fee for nothing, but actually a payment for ongoing service, expertise, and ultimately peace of mind for the landlord. The examples and the case study really drove that home.
I hope it provides clarity for our listeners, Rainey. It's about understanding the complete ecosystem of property management and the multifaceted role a good agent plays.
That's all for today's podcast from MySG Prop. I hope you picked up something useful for your next property move, whether you're a landlord or a tenant. Don't forget to follow or share this episode with someone who's into real estate too. More insights and new launch updates await you at mysgprop.com. Catch you next time.